Tired of dropping your phone or struggling to prop it up? Meet the PopSockets phone grip with expanding kickstand in black, your new must-have accessory. Don't miss out. Grab yours today. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
Chilling maps show how the UK, US, and others would look with 20% of territory seized by Putin, just like war-torn Ukraine. Ukraine may be forced to hand over 20% of their land to Russia as part of a peace deal. But what would this look like if it happened to other countries? A set of chilling maps shows just how damning Vladimir Putin's brazen land grab on Ukraine would be if it happened to the UK or even the US today. Despot Putin has been adamant throughout talks so far that he expects Russia to be allowed to keep all of the territory they have illegally stolen since invading in February 2022. If the borders were redrawn to reflect the current situation on the battlefield, then Putin would gain control of a fifth of Ukraine. This includes the occupied Crimean Peninsula, which Russia first annexed in 2014. The Kremlin would also get almost all of the regions of Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. The harrowing idea of Ukraine being made to give up their land has also been discussed by the US as they continue to try and help secure a peace deal. Donald Trump's pick to help lead the crunch talks, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, has already said Ukraine must be prepared to do difficult things if they want an end to the conflict. He told reporters as he flew into Saudi Arabia to meet with Ukrainian delegates this week. The most important thing that we have to leave here with is a strong sense that Ukraine is prepared to do difficult things. Like the Russians are going to have to do difficult things to end this conflict or at least pause it in some way, shape, or form. I think both sides need to come to an understanding that there's no military solution to this situation. The Russians can't conquer all of Ukraine, and obviously it'll be very difficult for Ukraine in any reasonable time period to sort of force the Russians back all the way to where they were in 2014. Volodymyr Zelensky responded by saying, "Realistic proposals are on the table. Snatching away 20% of any proud nation's rightful land would have a disastrous impact on their economy, agriculture, trade, tourism, and a number of other issues." So how would it look for some of the world's major superpowers, including the UK, if they were forced to accept the same potential terms of brave Ukraine? One terrifying scenario for Britain could see Putin's cannon fodder troops seize almost everything south of London. This would wipe everywhere from Land's End to Glastonbury off the map of the UK, including the whole of Wales. It would also drop the population down by over 6.3 million and take away a concerning 18,870 square miles of land. London would be narrowly spared from becoming a frontline city, but would sit only 100 miles away from occupied Russia. Despite Donald Trump trying to help broker peace between Ukraine and Russia, his fiery negotiating tactics could one day backfire. Our clever map shows what would happen if 20% of the US was taken over by Putin's forces. Much of the West would also fall under Putin's watch, with Washington, Oregon, and California all being taken. Idaho, Nevada, Utah, and Arizona would also be within Russia's grasp. Two of the main hotspots which would become part of the Kremlin's empire would be Las Vegas and Los Angeles, crumbling Hollywood. Silicon Valley would also be controlled by Vlad's men and allow them to take over the tech capital of the world. Due to America's huge size, a Russian invasion comparable to Ukraine's would see 67.1 million people commandeered. Taking 20% of the mainland would also equate to 725,000 square miles of land. It comes as President Zelensky has said he is committed to doing everything for peace, as crunch peace talks between Kyiv and Washington kicked off today. U.S. and Ukrainian representatives are currently sat down in Jeddah to discuss the key minerals deal, peace terms, as well as mending the U.S.-Ukraine relationship. A fiery Oval Office bust up last month largely severed ties between the two nations, with Zelensky leaving the White House early after Trump called him ungrateful and disrespectful. President Zelensky has fought to rescue his relationship with the U.S. president, even penning an apology to Trump ahead of the talks, a U.S. aide has claimed. Speaking ahead of meeting U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and U.S. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, Ukrainian head of presidential office Andriy Yermak has already said his country is ready to do everything for peace. He told reporters, "No one wants peace more than Ukrainians. Ukraine is ready to go for this goal because it's what Ukrainians want the most after more than 3 years of Russia's full-scale invasion." Ukraine are now set to propose a so-called sky and sea truce with Russia as they continue to try and show the U.S. they are committed to finding peace. Another key talking point to be addressed in the talks is around the U.S. restoring military aid and intelligence to Ukraine. Trump delivered a blistering speech to Congress confirming a temporary pause in aid earlier this month as he blamed Zelensky for failing to secure peace talks with Russia. Brave Zelensky spent much of Monday himself holding positive talks with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The crucial Saudi meeting comes after Ukraine hit back at despot Vladimir Putin with one of their biggest drone attacks on Russia of the war so far. Russian air defenses were left scrambling to shoot down Ukraine's 337 drones across 10 different regions, with Moscow and Kursk the main targets, according to the officials in the capital. At least 3 people have been killed and 18 others injured in the massive attack, Russian officials claim.